Hello lovely people, my name is Emma and today I'm doing something a little bit different on this channel. So this is a book channel, but today I'm going to be talking to you about board games. I'm a huge fan of board games. I play quite a lot with my partner and his family, and essentially what I wanted to do, especially given that we are all staying inside quite a lot at the moment, is give some recommendations of some of my favourite board games out there in case you're getting a little bit fed up of reading or want something that's a little bit more interactive. So this is going to be the start of a little mini series that I'm going to be putting out over the next week or two. Each video is going to focus on a different subgenre of board games, and today I'm going to focus specifically on board games that have been designed for 2 players and 2 players only. Then I've got a cooperative one coming up, and then just a kind of general recommendations one coming up. So I've got a good 7 or 8 to talk about, so we're going to jump straight in. The first one is a newer one to my shelf, and that's called The Fox in the Forest. So this is a card-based board game, if I kind of get it open so that you can see a little bit. The way it works is it's probably quite similar to a lot of kind of basic card games out there that you could play with a deck of cards, but they've made a few minor tweaks that you could totally do with a deck of cards, but just make the artwork a little bit prettier. So what you have is you have a couple of different suits here, and you're trying to win various tricks, but every odd card has like a different power that it allows you to do that means you might win the trick or not. You're trying to go until you kind of get to a certain number of points. I think it's like 21 to win or something like that, but what's quite fun about it is in each turn there's like 11 tricks to win or so, and if you do really well and win too many, your like counter automatically gets voided to 0 for that round. So it's toying that line between like winning enough that you get as many points as you can, but not winning so many that you then completely void everything, because again, if you win a really low number you get quite a high score, so it becomes very tactical about whether you at a certain point within the game decide to try and keep winning or actively try and lose each round so that you skew the points in your favour. Really good fun, really clever, and got a lot of strategy behind it. And like I said, if you could find the rules online, you might not even need to buy it, because you could probably just like do it with a normal standard deck of cards anyway. But the artwork is stunning, and this is normally around for like under 15 quid, so why wouldn't you? This is called Assembly. It's a little cooperative, and what you're trying to do is fix a spaceship before time runs out. This is, you're trying to line up counters with cards, and you can like rotate things or flip things, but it's a cooperative where you're not really supposed to tell each other what cards you have, and if they don't manage to align, it costs you more cards, and so you burn through your goes more quickly. It's really good fun and surprisingly difficult. I played this now 5 or 6 times and we've yet to win, so I'm starting to get a little bit of a vendetta against this game that I'm absolutely determined to beat it. And it's a cooperative, which is really nice to have some that aren't competitive on your shelf, because when there's only 2 of you, cooperative competitives can get a little bit nasty at times. So this one's really good fun. Like I said, really small, quite cheap as well, so a nice cute little one on your shelf. One that's a little bit chunkier, but not by much, is Onitama. So this one and a couple of other ones I have are similar in style to chess, and basically it is a board with pieces that you're kind of shuffling around to try and beat your opponent. This one has a smaller board than chess, and the moves are dictated by cards that actually rotate around the game, so each piece can move in exactly the same way, but it's based on the cards that you have in front of you. This means that the kind of stalemates that you have that happen in chess don't happen anywhere as much, because the moves that you can make and your opponent can make keep constantly changing. There's also 2 different ways that you can win, which means that your strategy changes quite a lot, and because there's so many different cards in the deck but you only pull out a few when you play each round, it's got a real replayability because your ability to maneuver changes with each game that you play. It's very difficult to explain this one, but it's surprisingly simple once you get to it, and I absolutely adore this game. I think it's so much fun, and it's really good for trying to, rather than doing like really long game strategy stuff that chess very much is, this is really about reacting to what's on the board, because you can only really predict maybe 1 or 2 moves ahead, rather than chess where obviously you've got that huge long game going on because you know what every move can be, if that makes sense. Sticking in with the kind of idea of like wooden pieces and boards in that particular sense, we've got Less here. This is actually called Less. I know it says Treasures of Slovenia on it. Basically the company who made it were really smart and essentially said that like anybody could put any pictures they wanted on the back if they like branded it, but basically which is really genius. It's become like a classic like tourist thing to find in airports. So the actual game itself is called Less. This is so much fun. It's a a 2-player. It can be expanded up into a 4-player, but I don't think it dramatically changes gameplay that much, so I'm considering this like officially a 2-player basically. It's super quick. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get your 4 counters across the board while somebody else is trying to get their 4 counters across to your corner. There's nothing competitive in the sense of like you can't damage each other in any way, you can't take pieces or anything like that, so it's really nice where you're working on strategy where the most you can do is maybe block each other a little bit, and it's nice to have a game in there that, again, like I say, is competitive but not getting aggressively competitive if that's not particularly your style. The board changes each game as well, so again, in terms of replayability, there's a lot of variety there, and they're really quick, which is nice. This is very like cute kind of palette cleanser in between kind of bigger games on this list. The final one that I have that is similar to chess is Quarto. Now this one is you're trying to make lines of 4 based on the different characteristics of the pieces. So as you can see on the picture here, they can either be square or circle, hollow or solid, tall or short, dark or light, and you're just trying to get 4 in a row that have any one of those same kind of characteristics. But what makes this one super fun is the piece that you place is given to you by your opponent. So you both have access to the same pieces and you give the person what they're going to be placing next, which means you can get some like really technical strategy going on. It's super fun to really dick them over, and it means you can end up in positions where you give someone a piece knowing full well that they could win with it and seeing whether they know that fact or not. It's really entertaining, and again, doesn't take very long, but it's surprisingly like got a lot of strategy to it. Really cool. Also, this company, I don't know who they are, I'm so sorry, but basically if you see anything with this particular font as well, they do a lot of 2-player games that are in this kind of style with like wooden pieces that are vibing off of different ideas of things like chess. So I would really recommend everything that they do. I've played a couple of other ones of their games, but I just don't have them on my shelf right now, and they are really good. So check this out. Who are you? I don't know. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. 2 more to talk about. One of them is Patchwork here. This is getting a little bit more modern in games, and again, absolutely stunning artwork, and this is starting to become a little bit more directly competitive. The way this one works is you have a quilt and you're trying to fill it with various different patches to complete your quilt. It costs you buttons to do so, but you can also earn buttons from more pieces, and it's based on as you go around, so you're limited in what you can, you kind of go around the board, so it's limited in what you can buy in each turn. Really good fun. Again, it's surprisingly like got more strategy to it than you would expect, but it's also super cute and super easy to learn. It does require a little bit of space because the board does kind of spread quite a lot, but really good. And I believe that there is an expansion that allows more than 2 people to play, and there's also a garden version of this. I can't remember what that one's called because I haven't personally played it myself, but if you're not into quilting and you'd rather have a garden based one, then I don't see why you couldn't do that. And then the final one I want to talk about is probably the most obscure and most like vintage of all of them in this collection, and I'm going to be super careful holding it up because this is not a very structurally sound game, and this is the Awful Green Things from Outer Space. So I'm going to put this down before it all falls everywhere. You can get a more modern version of this which is much like better made. This basically was actually like a pull out from a magazine that Andy's dad got like ages and ages ago. It's a fantastic game and more people totally need to play it. Basically, you're either the crew in a spaceship or the aliens, and you're either trying to flee the aliens and get off the spaceship and kill as many as you can, or you're trying to eat as many of the crew as possible. The aliens and the crew have like different abilities, and there's also weapons scattered all across the map. But when you first discover a weapon as a member of the crew and you use it against the aliens, you roll a dice to find out what's going to happen to the aliens. In some cases it can mean that you absolutely obliterate them and you've got a really powerful weapon, or in some cases it can backfire horribly and you spawn like triple the number of aliens that were on the map in the first place. So it's got a real element of like luck and fun in it. It is a little bit weighted towards the aliens, which does mean that they do tend to win, but it's really amusing seeing what you can take out, and you do things like you throw like crowbars at them, and like it's really silly and stupid and a weird fun mix of like chess meets Cluedo meets like I don't even know, but it's so entertaining and I really enjoy it, so I definitely recommend it if you can find it. Like I said, it's a little bit of an obscure one, but more people need to play this game. I think it's so good. So there you have it from me for my favourite 2-player board games that I happen to have on my shelf right now. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a co-op one and a general one in the next few days or so. So let me know, have you played any of these, and do you have any other 2-player games that you would recommend? One final tip in terms of 2-player games is if you are a big fan of of board games, but you tend to play them in larger groups, and you have a fair number on your shelf that do require more than 2 people, it's always worth seeing if they've done a dual or duet version of the game. Dual meaning D-U-A-L, because quite a few of the bigger board games out there do have 2-player versions. For example, we've got Seven Wonders Duet or Dual, can't remember. The 2-player version of Seven Wonders on my shelf. I haven't put it in this list because I've not actually got around to playing it yet. It was a brand new purchase for the lockdown specifically, and we just haven't opened that one quite yet. But that one again is like, it's a twist on a classic to make it work for a few number of players. So if you are a big board game person and you're bummed out that you can't play some of your favorites right now, maybe see if there's a version of it out there that you can. Also, it's worth checking out some of the tabletop simulators out there so that you can play board games with people who you don't actually live with. But this was a video for people who are stuck in their house with only one other human being and would like something else to do other than watch Netflix. So do let me know all your thoughts, comments down below, and I hope you're staying safe. Have a wonderful reading week, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.